All right. So far you have learned about, HR recruiter job roles and the responsibilities, the meaning. You have listened to the explanation, what particular job role means, and, what does the client mean by mentioning that. Okay. Then you have learned about how to create resume, the general introduction, the general tips to create resume. Then you have learned general questions that are asked by HR in the interview, and the common questions, what exactly they mean by it, and interview handling tips you have learned. Now we'll talk about creating a resume and, interview handling tips, especially for HR recruiter job. Okay. Now, as you have learned earlier how to create the resume, I will just walk you through once again. Creating resume, select details like name with surname or initial, and then with put your mobile number. That is how the recruiter then quickly contact you. Your email ID, because when you're applying for bigger companies, bigger corporates, they try to communicate you through email. Okay, mention the address, ensure you mention the area. Okay, nowadays, because traveling in metros is not that nearby, it's not that easy, so even the recruiters or the companies try to find candidates nearby their place. Okay, so make them aware about your area by mentioning it, and then write the city. It is must. So next part comes is writing the career objective, your profile summary. In the profile summary, you're going to mention about your strengths, advantages. If you're a fresher, then write in generic, what are your strengths, what are your advantages, and not skills that you have gained in your academics. If you're experienced, write more about your job, previous job experience, the role, the challenges, the targets, how you have helped the organization to grow, what are your learnings, what are your expertise, your competencies. Mention that. And then when you read the job description, especially for HR recruiter job, read the job description, and whatever traits are required mentioned in the JD, you mention it in your resume. Okay, write it in your resume because you have learned it. Anything that you can do, anything that is possible by you to perform in the job role, achieve, help the organization, mention it in your JD. How to do that, I will show you. And also, especially when you're applying for MNCs or bigger corporates, I suggest you, as per the JD, you modify before you're applying for the job. Okay, and then mention that you have learned HR recruiter job skills, you have gone through the training, whatever you have learned, and what is your particular strength in that. You mention about that and how you can help the organization in achieving the goals. Okay. When you are mentioning the education, the latest qualification must be at top, and the previous academic should be at last. So it should be in descending order. Next, even the same thing is followed when you're writing the experience, present experience at the top and the older experience at the last. Okay, so it should be in the descending order. And when you're mentioning the experience, write the job title. Very a lot of people just write, you know, they define the roles. They don't write the job title what you have worked. Write the job title, mention the experience that you have, mention the month and the year when you have joined or when you have completed the job. Then while this is also, as I said, write it in the descending order. Certifications, if anything that is related to your job, anything that is related to your hobbies, or anything that showcase your temperament, your attitude, team building, sports, you can mention that. Then the project works that you have done, this is again for the freshers. You can also mention that in the resume. Personal details, write your name, again, father or spouse name, date of birth, gender, language, religion, marital status, hobbies, nationality, address and declaration. Okay, so this is like a very uh, simple format of creating a resume. Okay, now let us go through a particular sample of resume, and I will explain you how to create the resume using the JD. Okay, now we are going through one resume, and so address has to be completely filled, objective is mentioned, profile, possess strong analytical and problem solving skills with the ability to make well thought decisions and thought out decisions, demonstrate the ability to maintain composure and work effectively in fast track. So a lot of good points are mentioned as per the profile. But if you're applying for HR recruiter job, then I would suggest you to, if you're a fresher, then you just mention that you have gone through the training and this is what all you can do as per the JD. If you're an experienced person with some other domain experience, then you can mention that you have the domain experience and then you can, become HR recruiter and hire people related to the same domain. Okay. So this is more sort of a generic profile, right? The points that here which are mentioned are very common, not specific. So I still suggest you to write more specific so you can directly get the HR attention, okay, and that will help HR to make decisions quickly whether to shortlist you or not. Okay, and then career summary, write about your job career. See here, like she has mentioned over here about her experience as a primary teacher in so and so school, September 2011 to September 2014. Okay, that is also good. This is the way how you have to write. And then comes 2006 to 2008. Yeah, it is in the descending order. This is how is good. So this is career summary. She hasn't mentioned about the job role. Maybe she is not specific about it. You can do that. Okay, even when you're writing job role, again, as I said, it depends on your interest. Okay, if you're looking for a very good profile job in a very good company, then you mention the job roles what you have done. Okay, the better points you mention in the profile, the more options and opportunity you're getting, giving the recruiter to hire you, giving the HR to hire you. Okay, it's more like a selling skills. Then mention your education in the descending order. So here it is mentioned in ascending order, bachelor's and then post graduation diploma. So you write post graduation on the top and then bachelor's below it. Job roles and duties. So here she has mentioned the job roles and duties. Okay, this is also fine, but let us not make it too much of searching for the HR. Right? This is also fine. You can do this if you find it apt. Then certifications are mentioned. So in the certification, because you're applying for HR recruiter job, here you can just mention have learned and certified in HR recruiter job roles and skills. Okay. Then you have your personal details. All right. Now, how to add points related to the HR recruiter job description. Okay. Let us look at some JDs. Okay. I have searched like JDs and HR recruiter job vacancies in Google. So out of it, I will show you some samples. Okay. Here we have a requirement for HR recruiter position, fresher role, 0 to 1 year of experience. So what are the responsibilities? Recruiting, interviewing, and screening responsibilities of HR recruiters can be further broken down by daily responsibilities, which include partnering with hiring managers to determine staff needs, screening resumes on the job portal, performing phone interviews with the candidates, administrating appropriate company assessments. So screening resumes on job portals, you have learned in the training. So you can mention this point in your resume. You can mention this point as well, interviewing and screening responsibilities, performing references and background check, making recommendations to company hiring managers. This is like, you know, giving inputs to your manager. So and so candidate profile is this, he has so much of experience in this particular job role. I find him like 50 to 60% suitable. I have gone through like gone through like 20-25 profiles, and I find him like among top 6 or top 7. So you should consider his profile for the next round of interview. This is how you have to make the recommendations. Coordinating interview with the hiring managers, that is like lining up interviews, scheduling them, following up on interview process status, maintaining relationship both internally and externally, communicating employee information benefits during screening process, completing timely reports and employment activities. Okay. So here, if you look at the specific things, okay, highlight things. I This is as per my understanding. This is what are the highlight things out of this particular JD, and this is something like a bullseye you call, right? Bingo sort of a questions. Right? So this is very specific. This is what is must. Okay, screening resumes is very important. This is again one of the very prerequisite for HR recruiter. Telephonic interviews. That is how you can save a lot of your time by interviewing candidates. You can mention this. Making recommendations, because you're the first point of contact. You're the person who are interviewing the candidate, and you're the person who has gone through his resume, and then you do the telephonic interview. Doing recommendations, whom you suggest, whom you refer, whom you shortlist, and why you shortlist. This recommendation is very important, and that is the reason I think this point is mentioned in the JD. So what you can do is you can just copy this first point, put it in your resume wherever it is suitable, wherever you're mentioning the HR recruiter job role or the training that you have learned. Okay. So freshers and experienced people, when it comes to freshers, just write, I have learned this. Okay. Experienced people, I can do this. Okay. Now let us say over here, you're mentioning HR recruiter, experience or job. This point you can just copy paste and make it a proper text. Okay, ensure the text alignment and the fonts are the same throughout the resume. Okay, now here you can't just write the same sentence, you can't copy paste it. The recruiting, interviewing and screening responsibilities of HR recruiters can be further broken down. You can't do this. Okay, you have to modify, you have to edit. How? Suppose fresher, I have learned, recruiting, interviewing and screening of candidates as per the GD. Okay. This is how you can make it very specific. Now, when the hiring HR go through your resume, when he reads it, yes, you're meeting his needs. All right. So this is for the fresher, and if you're experienced, you can just write the same way in a different text, in a different meaning. Okay, see, the meaning is the same, you're just changing the words. What you can write, let us once again see what was the sentence. So here I will just mention, see, don't put it in the resume. This is for your understanding and writing what a fresher should write and what an experienced person can write. Okay. This is for the experienced person. Poses recruiting, interviewing, and screening experience of candidates for different job role. All right. Here, you're from a different domain. Okay, you don't have HR recruiter experience, isn't it? So when you are from a different domain, you can just write this. Suppose like you have experience in sales. Suppose sales experience and can recruit in and can help in quickly recruiting, interviewing, and screening experienced candidates, sales experienced candidates for the organization. Okay. So depending on your domain, this is how you have to present it. This is how you have to mention in the resume. All right. Now let us look for the different point what you can mention in the JD. See, most of the points what you have learned in the training, you can mention it. But again, I'm just trying to help you and show you how you can do the editing part. Next, screening resumes. Okay, you can copy paste this as well. Performing background reference, performing reference and background checks. It depends. When you are hired, they will every company has their own methods to do the references, check references and backgrounds, their own formats. They will train you on that. Now here, this point, you can mention in the resume. Suppose a fresher making recommendations to the company managers. So how would you gonna present this? How you can do the recommendations? Okay, in training, in training, have learned about understanding organization, business, how to analyze JD, and what else have you learned in the training? So this is how you have to utilize what you have learned and correlate it with the JD. Okay, and employee requirements by their business types. Okay, this is the point that you can mention. Analyze the JD. Recommend employee profile as per business functions. Right? You understanding? See how you are getting points to put it in your resume. And what you can write, one more point. Employee profile as per the business functions. Right? So here you have got the exact meaning as per the point. Business functions. Recommend employee profile as per the business functions to the manager, to the hiring manager. All right. So you got the meaning now. So this is how you have to understand the JD and write the points in your resume and make the meaning similar. Now, the same thing, you can make it little more better. You can beautify it. You can just put bullet points like this. Sourcing. For this, you can just mention as profile. Got a point now. As per the JD, you have created a points. So what do you think when HR is looking at your resume? Won't you just narrow down and shortlist your profile? Yes, the chances are very high. Okay. So this is how we have to create the points from the JD. Okay. Like that, you can find different points and you can create the resume. Now, what you have mentioned in the resume, 90% of the recruiters, whoever interview you, whether telephonic interview or face-to-face interview, what you have mentioned in the resume, they are going to ask those questions first, and then the questions that are present in the JD. Okay, because they want to verify if what you have mentioned is genuine and do you actually know it. Okay, so the questions as per the recruitment, interviewing and screening responsibilities, here the question what you can expect is like suppose how will you recruit an accountant, then you can mention, you can explain, you can give the details what you have learned. I will create the JD, or as per the JD I will go by the job portals that are available with the organization, and depending on the JD I will search in the different job portals. I will shortlist the resumes first, then I will do the telephonic interview, then I will do the recommendations to the senior. Okay, this is how you can answer it. And next, screening resumes on the job portal. Now if they ask you how do you screen resumes, suppose if you have got two accountants of same experience, then you can tell I will screen their resume depending on the qualification, that is educational qualification. Now suppose our JD has a requirement for BCom and the candidate is MCom, then I would choose the resume which is for BCom. Okay, because what matters next is depending on the qualification, the salary also varies, right? So this is how you can present yourself, answer the questions when asked in the interview. So it becomes very important over here to remember what you have learned, okay, so that you can answer the questions very confidently. As I said, most of the things are covered in the training. It's only depend on you how you utilize it and how you present it in the interview. Okay. So this is how you can correlate what you have learned in the trainings and answer the questions uh, that are and answer the questions that are asked to you by the HR recruiter or the the boss of the organization or HR manager or in any round of interviews. So usually if you have like two or three round of interviews, the questions will be the same, the perspective will be the same. They're trying to understand at different levels as per their experience. Okay, this is how you can utilize the training. This is how you can utilize the material what you have learned and the topics that you have learned. All right.